And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes in the flesh with another tier list for you guys. Look, by this point, most of you guys know the parameters for the tier list, right? If you haven't already checked out the point guard and shooting guard tier list, you guys should definitely go check that out. I'm gonna stop using the YouTube voice; it feels inauthentic, and honestly, I just do not feel like doing it anymore. So, my normal voice is basically the same, but either way, it doesn't really matter. So, parameters: S tier, unquestionable best cards in the game. There's usually only a couple up here, and that's because there's only a couple best cards in the game. Period. I don't know why I keep having to defend this. A tier, just a shade under S tier. Maybe they're really, really good. Maybe they have like one or two issues, of which I will talk about. B tier, they're fine. This is pretty much what everybody in the community is going to use, guys in the B tier, unless you spend a bunch of money on either VC or MT, then you probably have an A or S tier guy. C tier, these cards are very, very usable. Maybe they're like budget options. Maybe they're just a little bit outdated. Maybe they have like an issue or two. I will elaborate. D tier, they're not terrible, but they do have flaws. And you should probably upgrade. Unless you really like them, then I guess go for it. And F tier, just look at this point. I don't have trash tier yet. At this point, I don't think any card is really trash tier. Some are getting close, but I don't think any of them are really trash tier. Look, if you're using a guy in F tier, you should definitely change that ASAP, especially because there's guys in B and C tier that are like 1,000 MT. I'm not one of those market guys that's like, you should have 2.7 million MT at all times or else you're a failure. But like, I think you can get 1,000 MT. You could sell like one single badge and get that. F tier, Paul Pressey. Look, I have no personal beefs with Mr. Paul Pressey. I don't know anything about him. Maybe he's a terrible person. Maybe he's a really good person. I don't know, but this card is not it. And for that reason, he is an F tier. Talen Horton-Tucker. Contrary to what Lakers players and fans believe, THT is not really that tight. I will say that, and I will trigger at least 50 Lakers fans in the comments. Well, that implies that 50 people are going to watch this video, which is not incredibly likely, maybe 150 tops. Either way, THT is pretty good. He's got the Sean Marion release, which I kind of hate, and he releases low to not low to the ground, but like a low center of gravity. He doesn't release high up, making it very easy to block. Other than that, though, he's like a pretty solid card. I'd put him like towards the middle top of C tier is probably where he'll end up. Allan Houston, B tier. He plays much better at the shooting guard position. He's not incredibly great. He's a decent offensive player, not really good at all defensively. He looks super diesel in this picture that they used, though. Like, I didn't realize Allan Houston had guns like that. I was picturing him as a very lanky individual, but it is what it is. This card's pretty good. I mean, if you get him in the collector level, like if I had the card, I would use him probably. Like, I've played around with him a couple times. He has a smooth jump shot. Tobias Harris, I would also throw in B tier. He plays much better at the power forward, being that he's a little bit thicker and a little bit more sluggish. But Tobias Harris is usually pretty good in the early game, and I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing with this card. Andrew Wiggins, if he had better hot zones and a better 3-point rating and a better badge count, I know those are a lot of factors. He would probably be in B tier. Wiggins is usually really good in 2K. He's one of those guys that if he was only like half as good as he is in 2K in real life, he would be one of the best players in the NBA. Another guy like that is Kristaps Porzingis. Not saying Wiggins is terrible in real life. I'm just saying, like, he's almost God tier in 2K most of the time. C tier is appropriate. Anthony Edwards, I would put him in C tier. This Anthony Edwards is absolutely B tier, though. If he was just a little bit taller, he would be A. But this Anthony Edwards is incredibly good. I'm glad we got like a good early game Anthony Edwards so he can shine a little bit, because we're going to end up getting a bunch of dark matter ones, but for whatever reason, he's only going to play shooting guard small forward at 6'5". And at that point, we'll have like I don't even know, a shooting guard glitch Greg Ostertag or something crazy by that point. So it's like not really going to be that great. Purvis Short. Purvis Short is actually really good. I'm actually surprised. They never give us like a good Purvis Short card, but he's basically a Vince Carter clone, but he dunks a little bit better. I know. Blasphemy. But he does. Purvis Short is really solid. I've been trying to get this card from the vault for the entirety of the last 2 weeks, and he just refuses to drop. So I'm just about to give up at this point. Bernard King, B tier, just like Allan Houston. It's another collector level reward that looks really good, but I just don't have the cards necessary to pick them up. I have never, and I mean this, I have never seen Bernard King out in the wild. I'm like, have any comment down below if you have run into someone using this Bernard King card, because I swear I have never seen them. But he's good. I don't understand why no one uses this card. It's just weird. I mean, I get the collector level is pretty high, so like in order to have this card, you probably have better small forwards. Like you probably have Durant, you probably have a couple other guys. So you wouldn't really need to use this card. It's just weird that no one does. I feel like there's someone out there that could do great things with this card, but they just like aren't trying. ML Carr. I like ML Carr a lot. He's got a really easy to green jump shot. And while I do think the 3-point rating does hurt him a little bit, he's one of the best defensive cards in the entire game. I stand firmly by that. Bobby Jones. Once again, just like ML Carr, a really excellent defensive card. He plays much better at power forward. Great rim runner. He's actually pretty good on the interior too offensively. You just can't shoot threes. Like once you can't shoot threes in 2K at this stage, like it's not like the cards are unusable, but people just won't use them for that exact fact. I'll still use Bobby Jones. He's fun. Like I was running around with him earlier today. He was actually really nice. Once we get a Bobby Jones that can shoot threes, though, it's over. This card's about to be fire. Like just using him and how he moves, how he plays defense. Like the minute he even has like an 83 pointer, it's over. Bobby Jones is going to be one of the best power forwards in the entire game. Bruce Bowen. C. I think he's C tier. He obviously has Hall of Fame clamps and corner specialist, which is huge. He is an excellent 3-and-D player, but he just lacks in certain aspects of the game. He's not good at ball handling at all. He's like a lot of 3-and-D guys, you know, we'll call them 3-and-D cones for the most part, right? But they're at least able to handle the ball. Bruce Bowen is not a good ball handler at all, and that really stymies his value. Brian Russell. I actually love this card. I think I'm alone here. I just like Scottie Pippen's release. I really hope we get a new Scottie Pippen soon because I will run Scottie Pippen to the end of the earth, just like I did last year. Dunktober Cam Reddish. I almost considered putting him in D tier, but I feel like the fervor in the comment section will never let up. I think Brian Russell's better, and I'll stand firm on that, but Cam Reddish is really nice. Karis LeVert. I don't know what it is about Karis LeVert, but I don't like this card. That being said, though, I can't say he's worse than Brian Russell, Cam Reddish, or Anthony Edwards. Like, Anthony Edwards is probably the card in C tier that I might drop to D tier. I don't think he's really that great. Carmelo Anthony. Now, if we're talking next gen, I would say he's A tier. But if we're talking both gens, I would say he's probably B. He's still usable on current gen, but just not being able to shoot from the corners as a small forward is so hindering to this card. It is infuriating. Just 2K. Why? Just why? Why can Carmelo, Paul Pierce, and LeBron never shoot from the corners? I don't understand. I feel like just like the corner defense, you know, just like how corners drop, it's one of those things where if they were to fix it, it would destroy the game. And that's why they haven't fixed it. It's the only thing that makes sense. Dale Ellis. Although I like Dale Ellis, people overrate this card quite a bit. I think he's still fine. He's like C tier, but he's a day one pink diamond. You know what I mean? He doesn't even have clamps and he's a 3-and-D guy. That's kind of important. I'm not the biggest, like every card needs clamps to be a successful kind of guy. But when it comes to an outdated card that's also not really great in regards to shooting badges and other badges, you know, I can't really look past that. I will say he's better than Andrew Wiggins, but Bruce Bowen is way better than Dale Ellis. I'll stand firm on that. Danilo Gallinari. He's like the Bizarro World Bobby Jones. Or like Bobby Jones can do everything but shoot. Danilo Gallinari can do nothing but shoot. That's all he can do, which is fine in certain cases, but if that's what you're looking for and you have like a solid defensive unit built around him, then Danilo can be very, very effective. Like if you were to run ML Carr at shooting guard, Bobby Jones at power forward, Danilo at small forward, he could be potentially very helpful for you. Granted, somebody that you're playing would just run a zone keyed in on Danilo Gallinari, but like whatever, that's besides the point. Danny Granger. Look, I like Danny Granger. I really wish he wasn't a lock-in, for one thing. For two, he came out day one. He's just a bit outdated. He doesn't have clamps either, but he does make up for it by having like an excellent release and being just absolutely massive. Dunktober Vince Carter. I'll put him right next to Purvis Short. They're essentially the same card. I think Purvis Short is a little bit better, but it just kind of depends where you're playing him. Like Purvis Short is better at the small forward. Vince Carter's better at the shooting guard. You know what I mean? Darius Miles. You guys know I love Darius Miles, the medical fraudster himself. I'm a huge fan of this card. I like this card a lot. I've liked it since the day it came out. I will not change. Dominique Wilkins. I think Dominique's still really good. I don't know if he necessarily I don't know if he deserves to go into B tier, but he's still really overall solid. I don't know. I'm going to make my decision on him later. Elgin Baylor. Now I'm going to put him kind of lower, and that has nothing to do with Elgin Baylor. I think the card is really great. He's just not, like, playing small forward is not something that he can do. Like, he's just a little bit too small. I mean, you can get away with it at this point, but not for much longer. Other than that, the card is fun to use, though. He's really cheap for a reason. Furkan Korkmaz. Dude, I love Furkan. He's like better Danilo Gallinari. I don't care what anyone says. This card is actually fun to use. Once again, he's like Bizarro Bobby Jones. Like, all he can do is shoot. He can do nothing else. George Gervin. I would put George Gervin right next to Dominique. I think Dominique's a little bit better because he can shoot a little better, but Gervin is a little bit taller, and he dunks with a ferocity unmatched almost in this game. Also, like, he hoops while wearing a chain, which I think is so sick. George Gervin is probably the most, I don't want to say disrespected NBA legend of all time, but the most underrated NBA legend of all time. That's my opinion. Gerald Wallace, D. I would throw him in D. He just can't shoot. Like, that's the only issue. He's not really the greatest ball handler either. Like, he's an excellent defender. He's an excellent defender. I'd put him in C tier. I can't really say for certain he's that much worse than like ML Carr. You know what I mean? This Gerald Wallace, on the other hand, is A tier. Like, no question. There's not any card in the game that's more frustrating defensively than this Gerald Wallace. The fact that every single qualifying team ran this Gerald Wallace, not everyone, but majority of them ran Gerald Wallace and just stuck him on the point guard, should tell you everything you need to know about how frustrating this card is on the defensive end. Glenn Robinson. He's outdated, but he's still good enough to be B tier. I still like this card. I use him from time to time. He's still solid. Like, he was a great reward, but I can't say for certain. Yeah, because he wasn't even better than Danny Granger the day he came out, in my opinion, anyway. Glenn Rice. If he's badged up, he's probably B tier, but, like, out of the box, he's C tier. Paul Pierce. He's just worse Melo. Like, that's what he is. He's better defensive Melo, but worse offensive Melo. He's also worse at dribbling, too. So I would put him, like, right over here. You could argue Tobias Harris is... What was the word I just said? Tobias Harris is slightly better, but I don't know. It's personal preference, I guess. Gus Garrard. He's outdated, but Gus Garrard's still 6'9", super lanky with a smooth jump shot. I think Gus Garrard is fire. I'll put him at the bottom of B tier. I would use him at the small forward over Allen Houston, I think, just for defensive reasons. He's not the greatest defender, but he's better than Allen Houston. Yeah. Tim Hardaway Jr. He's still good enough to be C tier. He's just a bit outdated, but he's wet. I hate Harrison Barnes. If you like Harrison Barnes, that's fine. I don't care. It's my list. I'm putting him in D tier. Diamond LeBron. B, he's significantly better at the power forward position. Once again, on current gen, he can't shoot from the corners for reasons I'm not completely sure of. So, I mean, yeah, same tier as Carmelo and Paul Pierce and all the other can't shoot from the corner brethren. Should probably go to the same place. Jalen Rose. Yeah, he's probably the F. I mean, he's better than Paul Pressey, so maybe I'll move him down. We'll see. Jamal Wilkes, D. I do not like this card very much. If you do, I guess you could put him in C tier, but, you know, go make your own tier list. Big shot James Posey. Yeah, this card sucks, dude. I was so mad, too, because I like James Posey, and the fact that they did my man so dirty, I just don't know why they did him like this. He's so sluggish. He, like, misses an absurd amount of whites. His jump shot is not good. Jarrett Culver. I mean, he's better than Paul Pressey, but that's about all I can really say about him. I'm going to move Jalen Rose down because I would use Harrison Barnes, James Posey, and Jamal Wilkes over him. Unmasked Kevin Durant. S. I mean, it's Pink Diamond KD. You know how it goes. Jason Tatum. I think Tatum's actually, like, very good. I would put him, like, towards the top of B tier. I think Melo's a little bit better for his uses on next gen. But Tatum's good. He's just got a slow jump shot. That's the only thing that hampers him. Literally, it hampers Jason Tatum every single year. They give him a super slow jump shot, which I personally don't mind. It's not really the biggest deal in the world. And then randomly in like season 6, they'll come out with the Jason Tatum and just give him the fastest jump shot in the game. Absolutely like no middle ground whatsoever. They're not like, okay, you know what? Let's try giving him like Andre Karolinko's release, like a base 29. They're like, no, give him Tyler Hero's release right now. Give him 117. And the fastest release in the game. I guarantee he gets Trae Young base in like season 6. I mark my words now. Tony Kukoc. Yeah, in the like Sapphire squad over here, I think he's worse than Cam Reddish, but better than Anthony Edwards. Jimmy Butler. Butler's actually good. I would put him right here behind LeBron. I personally would use him over LeBron at the small forward, but that's, you know, tick for tack. Whoever you want to do, you know what I mean? John Havlicek. I love John Havlicek, dude. This Havlicek card is so fire. He plays much better at the shooting guard position, so I would use him over Paul Pierce. I'm being serious. I really would at the small forward. Absolutely. Havlicek is a monster. Julius Erving. Irving's good. I'd put him ahead of Karis LeVert right here. Brandon Ingram. Best card in C tier. If he could play defense better, I'd put him in B tier. If you badge him up and give him defensive badges, I think he's low B tier. But C tier seems appropriate for him. I love this card. Justin Holiday. Jay Holla, the Bulls fan savior. By Karis LeVert and Tim Hardaway. He is so sluggish. This dude has the worst dribble moves in the entire game. I don't care what anyone says. Like, they're horrendous. I don't know. His jump shot's okay if you can get the timing down, but it's just, this card's not great. Kelly Tripucka. No one with a mustache this strong goes below C tier. I'll put him over here by like Julius Erving. Yeah. Masked KD. Better than regular KD. I'd put him in S tier. Obviously, he's got the blinders. That definitely puts him over the other KD. I mean, it's KD. You know what I mean? Chris Mullin. I personally love Chris Mullin. I do use him from time to time. Sometimes I swap him out. Sometimes I use him. Great sharpshooter. He actually got some ups too. Like, he can actually get up and boom, which I think is kind of underrated in regards to Chris Mullin. He can handle the ball pretty decent too. I like Chris Mullin a lot. I didn't really see anyone running him in the 250K qualifiers, but that's probably because guys like Jarrett Wallace and like Kevin Durant exist. So Chris Middleton. I actually like Chris Middleton a lot. I would put him like right ahead of Glenn Rice. He's a really, really good 3-and-D small forward. Oh, my boy Landry. You already know he goes up here in C tier. Look, you're lucky I'm not putting him in B tier. I love Landry Fields. This is like one of my favorite cards this year. Larry Kanan. He's really good defensively. Not quite as good as like Bobby Jones or ML Carr, but he's good enough. I would put him right here by like Jamal Wilkes or whatever. The Sapphire version would probably go right here too, but they're basically the same card, so I didn't include both of them. LeBron James. Masked LeBron's decent enough. I would put him like by Bobby Jones or like Furkan. Rewards Vince Carter. This card's actually decent. I would put him like right over here. Yeah, he's actually pretty good. He's a decent scorer. Nothing defensively, but that's about it. Lou Hudson, what are you doing in here? I thought I got rid of you. He can still shoot, though. Put him in D tier. He's like better than Jarrett Culver, Jalen Rose, and Paul Pressey. These two guys are not supposed to be here, but whatever. I need fodder of which I can make fun of anyway. He has just the most immaculate mustache. Mark Aguirre. Yeah, Mark Aguirre is actually B tier. He is the most slept on card in this game, at least at this position for sure. Mark Aguirre is really, really good. T-Mac. Oh, how I would like you on my team. A tier. If you have a badged up T-Mac, you can argue he's S tier, but I think A tier makes sense for him. He doesn't really play defense that well, and he doesn't come standard with defensive badges. And also, I'm going to knock him down a tier for me not being able to afford him because he's like 600K still. Caron Butler. B. Like low B tier. He's not the greatest, but he's not terrible. He's just kind of okay. Grant Hill. Grant Hill's like towards the top of B tier. Grant Hill's still really, really good. You could argue him or Jamal Mashburn is better. They're basically the same card. Grant Hill's a little bit more athletic, a little more spry. Jamal Mashburn's a little bit better at banging in the post. So, I mean, whatever. You know, but Grant Hill's good. He's overall just really like B tier. You know what I mean? Matisse Thybulle. Probably just kidding. B tier. Absolutely. Matisse is my guy. I would use him over LeBron and Vince Carter and Purvis Short. I literally do use him over Chris Mullin, but I'm trying to remain as unbiased as possible here. I would put him in a B tier. Yeah, probably right there. Alex English. I mean, he's decent, but he can't shoot from the corners. That does hinder him quite a bit. So I'll throw him like in the middle of C tier. Mikal Bridges. Now, I will keep Matisse Thybulle where he is, but I will put Mikal Bridges all the way up here. I love this card so much. Like, he dunks over anybody, literally, and he doesn't even have a high dunk rating. I do not understand what it is. He has Hoff interceptor, which is huge. He has a wet jump shot. He's lanky. He can get blocks. I think he literally deserves to be towards like the upper middle of B tier. Andre Iguodala. He's good enough defensively that he deserves to be in C tier, just not B tier. OG and Anunoby. I think OG is still good. I would put him like right behind LeBron, slightly over Matisse Thybulle because he brings a little bit more to the table. I think he's better at power forward, but it is what it is. Paul George. I will actually put Paul George as the best card in S tier. He is so ungodly annoying. I can't. Ugh. He's super good defensively. So, like, KD is decent defensively. Like, his defense is passable enough that you're willing to overlook it. Paul George is, like, the ultimate small forward at this point. Like, defensively, he's not quite as good as Gerald Wallace defensively, but he's probably the second best defender on this entire list, to be honest. Mikal Bridges is up there, though. Like, Mikal Bridges is really good. ML Carr can really hold it down, too. Same with Bobby Jones, but Paul George can guard all 5 positions. He's annoying. He's got one of the best jump shots in the game. Peja, I mean, D. He's better than Jarrett Culver, Jalen Rose, and Paul Presti. I will say that. Richard Jefferson. All right, controversial time. I actually believe Richard Jefferson is an A tier card. I'll let you guys type. Richard Jefferson is really solid. Like, he's just an altogether really, really good small forward. Really easy to green jump shot. He dunks over like everybody somehow. He has great Hoff badges. There's nothing wrong with this card. And he's cheap. Everything. Well, I mean, he's like 60K, but he's cheap for a card that's this good. You know what I mean? I think this card gets no love for some reason. I don't understand why. RJ Barrett. I love RJ Barrett as well. I'd put him right next to Landry Field, the little Knicks duo right there. Kawhi Leonard. I think he's still good enough to be in B tier. Like, Kawhi's still really good. He's outdated, certainly, but he's good nonetheless. Saddiq Bey. I would put Saddiq Bey in B tier. I think this card gets a little bit overhyped at times. He plays better at the power forward, but he's still really good. I mean, I'm not going to say, is he better than Glenn Robinson? I'll keep him where he's at with Kawhi. Scottie Pippen. Right next to Gerald Wallace. I really like Scottie Pippen. He moves really well. He attacks the rim. He needs some shooting badge upgrades, but he has a really easy to green jump shot. He plays immaculate defense. I would put him in C tier. Shawn Marion. If not for his jumper, he would be A tier or even S tier. Like, if they decided to give Shawn Marion just any other jump shot, I think I would put him higher, but he still deserves to be up here at B tier. This card is really, really slept on as well. The jump shot, he's like a souped up version of Talen Horton-Tucker with like incredible defensive badges. And he dunks on everyone. Steven Jackson's just outdated. I'll still put him in D though. TJ Warren, I think he's good enough to be in C tier still by like Wiggins, but he is outdated. Anyways, that is the list. Let me know down in the comments what you think, as you always do. As always, it's been your boy Cheap Lutz. I will be back with the small forward, or wait, not the small forward, but the power forward and the center tier list over the next 24 hours. I cannot tell you exactly when that will be. And yeah, drop a like on this video, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.